Well, good morning. Happy Friday.
Good morning. Big
Good morning.
Friday. Big
Yes,
Friday.
I know.
The sun is shining here in Burlington, Ontario, Toronto. It's a great day. It has been hot for the last few days. How's it been out there?
Nice. Not
Hot
hot, hot,
or
but not
not hot,
hot,
hot?
hot, but at least the flowers aren't freezing.
Oh, it's been really hot here. So, yeah, but it's nice. I like this. I like hot weather. I'm good. So, how are you doing for Friday?
Well, I'm doing good, and it's actually a very special Friday today. Today is National Indigenous Peoples Day across Canada, and
Oh,
it
really?
happens every year on June 21st, solstice. To The theme this year is to unite and work together and be productive. That's the theme for this year's celebrations. So there'll be things going
Really?
on all across the country, you know, dances and ceremonies and all kinds of great stuff. Good food, celebration of our Indigenous people here in Canada.
I know you're so in tune with them. As we're talking, I'm just sharing, I'm just posting and doing social media.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm wearing my little red dress. See the little red dress here?
And
This
what's
is
that
a
on your shoulder?
Yeah, it's a little red dress. It's a brooch, and it's to
Oh,
honor. It honors all the missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada.
really?
Yes.
Wow, you're such a trooper for the Indigenous community. I tell you, I love it. It's great. Like
Hmm.
I'm learning so much about that community. Like it's fabulous.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunately, that's not a good. Unfortunately, that's not a good thing. But you know,
no, but that is a good thing because part of what we like to do and the Disability Channel is educate, right? So we can talk about a lot of things, but this is particularly close to my heart, and of course, it is a very significant and special day here in Canada. I don't think they do anything like this in the U.S.
now I know you're supposed to have a guest on today, right? You're supposed to have
Yes,
an
yes,
artist on, so maybe you can
yeah,
tell us a little bit who was supposed to come on, and I'll ask you some questions about her.
yeah. Well, she's a really, really busy woman. Her name is Georgina Lightning, and she's a veteran filmmaker and has been in the industry for 32 years. And she is Indigenous, born and raised here in Canada, but works back and forth between LA and Edmonton, Alberta. And I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it'll be something significant because she's very, very reputable and very professional. So, but we'll still put a word out there for her. And I actually mentioned to her and told her a couple of my stories, and one of my particular stories. And I was involved in a very nasty court case about 25 years ago. And I said, I think it would make a good television series. And she said, Oh, no, that's a feature film.
There you go.
Political
Well,
thriller. She said, I want to talk to you about that. Good
so
morning, Kathy.
oh, oh, there's Kathy. So why don't we do a couple? Why don't we? I'm gonna tell our viewers a little bit of update because I'm sure they're
Yeah.
noticing on our Facebook page what's going on, and we're so for some reason our today's show will no longer air on our Facebook Today TDC page, but it airs on our individual pages. So it's on Kathy. It is on mine, but I'm going to be pulling everything off mine only because now we want to update our viewers that Laurie's going to be going, Dr. Laurie's going to be going single. She's going to be going solo now on a Today Show, whereas I'm going to be jumping back into the music world and the car world, a little bit of the sports world. But again, Laurie does that too with Doug, which is really nice. And I want to tell our viewers, our shows now, our individual shows, thanks Big Your Home TV and the guys down in the US are over 20K a show. Over 20K. So you want to advertise, you're going to be seeing advertising during our commercial breaks very soon. So yeah, so things are going to be changing. We're expanding. We're adding people. Laurie's constantly adding people to the Today Show platform, and we're really excited with the growth. And just because there's so many things going on that, and you can handle the show yourself, Laurie. So this is great. I really appreciate that. And congratulations.
Well, thank you for trusting me with that, because I know the kind of work that it takes to put something together, like a show, for example. And you've had the Today Show now historically, I think about 5 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate the kind of work that goes on to create something like that. And for you to hand those reins over to me, I'm extremely grateful and honored that you would trust me with that. So thank you, Jay.
Oh, you're welcome. Why don't we do a couple updates? I do want to give a couple shout outs. So if you're looking for a publicist, whether you're an actor or an actress, whether you're a musician, whether you're a filmmaker, a director, and you're just looking to get your product out, give me a call. You can actually email us info@thedisabilitychannel.ca. I want to give a big shout out to some of our clients. I want to give a big shout out to Special Agent Sunshine. This guy, he just sent me the list of his songs. They're blowing up. And then we got 3 veterans. So Dan White's on our team already. Big shout out to Dan. He's from Texas. He's a musician, a band leader, and a vet. And now we're bringing on 2 new members, Fraser and Michael. So you're going to be seeing more of them. And I think we're expanding to the Your Home TV platform, as I have some interest there. So yeah, so if you're looking for a publicist just to get your name out more, give us a call. We have full access, full media accreditation to all sporting and entertainment events across North America. We're planning right now to do a tour, as I just got off the phone with a great innovative company that enhances artists and technology at the same time. That's what I'm going to tell you right now, but we're going to be talking more with them. So I want to give a big shout out to Mark at AMG. Thanks, Mark. And yeah, I'll turn it back over to you, Laurie, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
Well, that sounds really exciting. And I'm looking forward also to helping out with maybe, is it too premature to talk about our 22 minutes?
No, sure. Yeah, mention that. That's a good thing you mentioned that. Yeah, please do.
Well, we're going to do 1 show a week, and it's going to be 22 minutes. So we're going to start that right away. And so, sometimes people don't have an hour to watch a show, but they like to be there live and they like to participate. So we're going to do a show once a week that will be in that 22-minute range.
And it'll be on Kojiko Your TV. So yeah,
oh, wow.
So that'll so we're going back to, well, we've always been on television, but we took a little bit of a break because COVID really messed everything up, right? Yes. I know COVID's been over for a year or whatever, but it's still, people are still catching up and they have to adjust things and everything. So yeah, so we're going to be doing, and then obviously we're going to be delivering our shows still down to Your Home TV. So we're going to be really showcasing. We always showcase Halton, but because we're on Your TV here in Canada, Toronto, but it's a Canada show, right? So it's just not on Toronto. It's actually worldwide. So we're going to be updating with the Invictus Games, our fundraiser, our employment program. So they've now kicked up a notch now. So again, we're going to be enrolling people and confirming people right now, because I think our program is going to get started in early July. So, and this is all geared up to have production graduates so we can send them out to the game. So this kind of exciting. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop myself off, but I really enjoyed our conversation. Again, congratulations on going solo. I'll still pop in once in a while, and I'll still shoot you guests and throw you content and support you and promote and all that kind of great stuff. So again, thanks, Laurie. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Well, that's our CEO and founder of the Disability Channel, Mr. Jay Stoyan, popping in to say hello and bring you up to speed. And I'm kind of, just for fun today, I thought I'd flash our new banner with our connection to Your Home TV. And I like to switch things around somewhat. We do have our beautiful logo, of course, but for the Today Show. And but that's kind of, who I am. I get bored easily. So I have to, keep things rocking and rolling. And I see Kathy is here, Kathy Bell, and Kathy and I are going to be working really closely together. We're going to have her on the show, by the way. We should book you in, Kathy, right away for when I'm back. Oh, and that's the other thing I need to share. I have the most exciting week coming up, and it's a kickoff today with National Indigenous Peoples Day. This is so fun to be part of that. And then tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, I get in my car and I'm going to be driving to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And we're going to be hosting a breakfast there on Sunday morning for our clients, kind of like a customer appreciation breakfast. And also giving out some awards and some certificates for people who've participated in our workshops in the last little while. And then on Monday, I travel north, way up north in the bush. And I doubt if I'll even be able to make a phone call. So I'm going to be insulated and isolated. And I've been invited to facilitate a 2-day retreat for a group of 9 people. They are staff in the finance department for one of our largest nations in Saskatchewan. So I'll be there for 2 or 3 days and then I'll truck on back home. But it's 1,000 kilometers from where I'm sitting right now to the camp, the cultural camp up north. So I'm going to take a little break and visit in Saskatoon in between. But and I'm also getting to attend a beautiful big birthday party for Cookham, which is the Cree word for grandmother. And a friend of mine, her mom is turning 87, and they're having a party for her. I hope she's not listening because it's supposed to be a surprise. And so I've been invited to MC that function. And so I'm looking forward to that because it'll be a beautiful celebration for a beautiful person. And actually, Cookham came and stayed with me for a month. This time last year, she was here for a whole month. And it was the first time in my life that I actually got to sit with a real survivor, first generation survivor of the residential school system here in Canada. And I just felt so honored to be having coffee with her. And I was able to ask her some questions because a lot of people who were in that system for so many years were traumatized and don't really like to talk about it. But she was very open to talking with me, and we had some really great conversations. And then she came back in January for another 30 days. And I just call her mom. She's just like a mom to everybody. So that's another reason for my trip. So we'll have a really good time. I'm going to take my camera and take all kinds of great pictures. And it's going to be such an amazing week. So in the meantime, you're going to have Laurie Withdrawal and Doug Withdrawal and Dr. Ramin Withdrawal, all of us who appear on the shows, a break. We're going to take a break. But when we come back after July 1st, long weekend in July, we also honor July 4th because we have a lot of American clients and customers and viewers. So kudos to them too for their holiday coming up. So that week is a little iffy, but we'll be back on the air July the 2nd, which is really significant for me because in 1992, on July the 2nd, we opened our doors for business. So we've been in this business for 32 years, and I'm really proud of that. A lot of people don't make it past 6 months in business, but we did, and we're very grateful for that. And we have a beautiful team around us. We've attracted all kinds of lovely people and continuing to grow as I speak. And Jay did mention about advertising and sponsoring. We've got this bang up package for anybody that has a product, a book, an event coming up, a cause, whatever it is. And you're going to be able to advertise with us and have those projects promoted right here on our channels and on our shows. We have a few shows happening. We have the Today Show 5 days a week. And as Jay just mentioned, solo, me. Tuesdays, we have the Press Box with former NHLer Doug Smith. And we've had some fascinating guests on that show. And then we have been invited to produce the Today Show 22 Minutes. And we'll do one show a week, and this is where Kathy and I'll be working together. And sometimes we'll have guests, and sometimes we won't. And it's the 22 minutes is a time frame that's really appealing out there, so we're going to go with that. And let's see. If you're interested in being on the show, advertising, being a guest, you want to come back, you had such a great time the first time you were here, then please let us know. All right, so we're going to take a 30-second break because this is where your products, programs, and services would be advertised. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, your host of the Today Show. And today we're featuring National Indigenous Peoples Day. So if you're watching and you want to throw up some comments, we would love that, because maybe you have a question that you'd like to ask or something you'd like to share. Apologies from my guest for today, but I will invite her back and we'll have her, the beautiful Georgina Lightning, a 32-year veteran of the film industry, Indigenous woman, and I wanted to talk to her about that today. I thought it was a very timely day. So anyway, if she pops in, I'll let her in, and otherwise you're just going to have to listen to me. That's just the way it is. And Kathy said, yeah, this sounds exciting. We're looking forward to creating lots of different kinds of shows. We're not going to have to be stuck with one show. And there's been so much interest with our veterans that, that could be a show all by itself. But for now, on Mondays, we talk about self-care, self-empowerment, confidence building, communication, and bring in experts in those fields, including ourselves and the people on my team. And on Tuesdays, we discuss money and finance. And last Tuesday was particularly fun with Dr. Ramin. He gave us a list of 24 songs that were written about money and became hits. And there's quite a few. And then on Wednesdays, wellness. And this week we had Nancy Wright, health coach from Northern San Diego. And she talked about food and eating poison. I often think about that because we wouldn't pour a bottle of Jevex down our throat, would we? And, some of that food is just as toxic. And on Thursdays, yesterday, we had a group of female veterans, if you didn't see yesterday's show, and we had a very candid conversation about what it was like to be a woman in the military. And if you are a woman in the military, some of the things that you may have to face or deal with. And then, of course, today, Fun Friday, Special Friday, National Indigenous Peoples Day. And some people, I love to, I'm actually an advocate for the Indigenous community, and I have been for 25 years. I had my very first assignment on the second largest reservation on the East Coast in 1998. And I love to share that story because it's how my Native journey began. And I got a call from the health director in Elsipogtog, New Brunswick. And she said, I understand you have an empowerment program that you've written. And I said, yes. And at the time, it was I always joke about it and say the ink wasn't even wet on the paper. And she wanted to know if I would come up and do a presentation for the professional staff that worked on the reserve. And I said, sure. So off I go, and I'm all excited, and I can't wait because I haven't really had a whole bunch of Indigenous contact, somewhat, but not totally. And, I don't know about you, but sometimes you go to a place that you've never been and you put your feet on the ground and you feel like you're home, or you feel like I've been here before. Has anybody ever had that experience? You go, I know this place. I've been here. And that's what happened to me when I went to Elsipogtog. That is the Mi'kmaq name for Big Cove. It was called Big Cove for years, just north of Moncton, New Brunswick. So that was going to be a 5-hour drive for me. And anyway, I went up and did my presentation and I got hired. And after that, I traveled once a week, 5 hours up, 5 hours back. I stayed on the reserve and off the reserve, depending on whether there were accommodations or not. And I worked up there for 3 days a week. So I really, really entrenched myself in the culture. And I had a lot of wonderful mentors. You see, the thing is, if you want to learn more about someone else, what do you have to do? You have to spend time with them. If you want to build a great friendship, you can't do that, a text every once a month or something. You have to take time to be with people. So this gave me ample opportunity to do just that. So I was amazingly impressed with the beautiful people that I was to meet and who were going to mentor me and educate me. So I really appreciate that education firsthand. I had a mentor. Her name was Lillian Francis. And Lillian was an elder. She was 83 at the time. And so what we did, we went into the community and we provided workshops for all levels of the community, from leadership, the kids, elders, single moms, anybody who was interested in working on their self-esteem and their confidence and their communication, because that's the outcomes of what I do and what we do. And so I had a men's group, I had a ladies group, I had a single moms group, and then I decided, I had a youth program, I'd written it, but I had not really piloted it anywhere. But back to Lillian. Lillian was in my elders group, and she used to come in, and I'm going to tell all my stories today in honor of National Indigenous Peoples Day. Lillian would come in, shuffle in. She was just a little tiny woman. And one day she came early. And I had already engaged her. And I said, Lillian, I need you to, as an elder in the community, to mentor me and teach me what I need to know about being a Mi'kmaq woman. So she did. And so she was always instructing me. So that morning she came in and I said, Lillian, why are you here so early? Well, I want to talk to you. She was very stern, and that community, they didn't ever really lose their language. And so when they speak English, it's a second language and there's an accent. So I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just sharing it because it sort of exemplifies everything that Lillian was, who she was. So I said, okay, what am I going to learn today? She said, today you learn what is an elder. What is an elder? And I wasn't an elder back then. That was like 25 years ago. And I said, okay. She said, okay. I said, well, I have a question for you first. Why are you coming to the workshops? You're 82. What are you going to learn? You already know everything. You're not going to make any changes. And she said, this is where I teach you what is an elder. I said, okay. She said, every Wednesday morning, Laurie, I come to your workshops and I listen and I learn. And then I go home and I make 2 big pans of cookies and I buy a gallon of milk and I invite my 14 grandchildren who are at the school. They have an appointment with me at 4 o'clock and they're not allowed to miss. And they come to my house and I sit them all on the floor and they get their cookies and their milk. And then I teach them what I learned in your workshop. Oh my goodness. My heart sank. Tears came to my eyes. And she said, you see, Laurie, I told my grandchildren, if you want a different life, you must have new information. So I come to your workshop, I get new information, and then I go home and I share it with my grandchildren, because that is what is an elder. I went, wow, wow, wow. So you see, Lillian was the only one in her family taking our workshops. But guess what? The whole family were taking the workshops. They just didn't know it. Isn't that cool? I have so many stories from there. Another story I have from there, which is kind of relates to what we're doing right here today. Apologize for my voice. Ooh, I get all choked up when I talk about it because it was such a powerful time in my life and an experience that I never could have had that was so amazing and so powerful. So my husband and I were driving around the community, and there's this little house, and it has a tower coming out of it. And Ron says to me, "Oh my gosh, Laurie, they have a radio station here." And at that time, I was on mainstream radio once a week. I did a show out of Halifax, and with Chum Radio, I did a talk show every Sunday night. So I said, "Oh my gosh, Ron, I'm going to be up here every week anyway. I could do a show while I'm here." Because the media is very powerful. People don't really understand or appreciate how powerful the media is, and it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. Either way, it works. So I went up and I knocked on the door. This little man, short little man, came to the door and he said, "Hello." And I said, "Hi." I said, "My name's Laurie Davis and I'm a professional talk show host. And I was wondering, I see you have a tower. Do you have a radio station?" "Oh, yes," he said, "I have a radio station and I have a TV station in my living room." "What?" I'm going, "What?" "So all CRTC registered and everything." And I went, "Whoa." I said, "Well, what do you have for programming?" And he kind of smiled and he said, "Well, I have bingo and I have music." "Oh, anything else?" "No, we got music and we got bingo." I said, "Well, how would you like to have a professional talk show once a week when I come to the community?" He said, "You mean people call in?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, no, never work. It would never work here." I said, "Why not?" "Because the community, everybody knows everybody's voice. Everybody knows everybody's business, and nobody's going to call in." I said, "Really?" He said, "No, trust me on that." I said, "Well, you know what? Maybe then we don't do a talk show. Maybe we do just a show. You and I. You could speak Mi'kmaq. I could speak English. We'd have like probably the first bilingual Mi'kmaq/English show in the country." Oh, he got all excited. "What a great idea," he says. "Come on in." So I went in. Studio was in the back bedroom. And he said, "How are we going to do it?" I said, "Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring my producer up from Halifax next week, and he's going to come and help us get set up. And we're going to get set up so just in case somebody calls in, you never know, then we'd be ready. Are you okay with that?" He said, "How much it going to cost?" I said, "Nothing. I'll pay him to come in and help us get set up for calls." Okay. So the next week when I went up, I took my producer, Joe Brito, amazing young man. And Joe helped us to get everything set up. And when I come back after this break, I'm going to tell you an amazing story about what happened next. We'll be right back after our 30-second break. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, this is the Today Show, Friday, National Indigenous Peoples Day. Oh my, a big day across Canada today. And the theme this year is Unite and Come Together. Now, is that not a beautiful theme? Wow. And today there are all kinds of celebrations and ceremonies and honoring people going on today across Canada. And I'm just sharing Tales of Elsipogtog. I think that would be a book. Tales of Elsipogtog. The second largest reservation on the East Coast here in Canada. About 2,500 people were living there at the time. I don't know what it is now, but it was an amazing experience and one that I shall treasure forever because something huge and big and amazing came out of that. Little did I know at the time. But back to the radio station. Oh boy. We got Joe, got us all set up, and so Foster and I start the shows. And I made announcements. I said things like, hey, if you have a poem and you would like us to read it on the air, please drop it off. Or if you have a birthday, or if you have a piece of news, or whatever. And we sat there for 3 months and never got a call. But we filled the airtime with all kinds of inspirational stuff. I remember one day saying, I know there's all these new babies in the community, and it's a beautiful day out there. And how about all of our mums get their strollers out and take those babies out for a walk and meet up with each other? Now, this is how powerful the media is. After the show, I stepped out the front door to get some fresh air. And what did I see? Moms with their babies talking in little groups. You see, sometimes you need to just plant an idea and then let people go with it. So 3 months into it, there had been a huge event in a reservation north of us. And Burnt Church, it's called. And there was a big fight on the wharf with the fisheries people and Native men with their boats and lobsters, and boats were on fire. And it was a very dangerous situation. And I had heard about it on the news before I got to the studio. So when I went into the studio, I said to Foster, you know what, today we need to talk about Burnt Church. And he got really fearful. And he said, oh no, we can't. I said, yes, we can. We can talk about it. We don't have to say anything bad, but we can let people know. So we get on the air and we start talking back and forth, Mi'kmaq English, about what was going on in Burnt Church. And I said, if there's anybody in Burnt Church who would like to call in and let us know what's going on, we'd appreciate it. Bam. Phone rang. Took the call. We had duct tape, wires duct taped to the wall, speakerphone. Bam. The light came on and there was a caller. And here was this gentleman who was in the middle of this in Big Cove, and he phoned us. And there were no cell phones back then. This was like he had to go to a landline somewhere and call us, which he did. So there he was. All righty. Next thing we know, we hang up from him. There's another call. Then there's another call. Then there's another call. This was a hot topic. And after that, that's what it took to let people know that they had a voice and that we were there to listen and we were there to support. And so that's what we did. And it was amazing. And then shortly after that, we did a show, and this woman came in to the, my dog's barking because somebody's at the door, but my husband will take care of it if you hear him barking. So then somebody out there wanting me. So anyway, I'm a little distracted at the moment. But anyway, this woman came to the door. And she said, I'm looking for Laurie Davis. And Foster said, okay, Laurie Davis, no problem. I come out and she has a plate of traditional food for me. And I love the traditional food, all my beautiful deer meat pie, bannock, all that good stuff. And then I I said, thank you. And she stood back and she gave me this look like this. She went, I said, is everything okay? Like, I was scared then. Well, yeah, she said, everything's okay. But you're Laurie Davis? And of course, she had heard my voice on the air. I said, yes, I'm Laurie Davis. Why? Well, she said, you don't look like Laurie Davis. She said, I thought you were going to be tall. I thought you were going to be skinny. I thought you were going to be blonde. And I went, oh my gosh. You see, when you listen to people on the radio, you know how we have that ability to create a vision, an image of what we think they look like. And I didn't fit her image at all. And I said, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. May I still have the plate of food? And she said, oh, yes, no problem. She said, I'm really happy because you look like me. And I went, oh, that was quite the compliment, wasn't it? Whew, beautiful. So that was the deal. I have so many stories. So many stories. But after that, the radio show took off, and every week we'd have, people would say, can I come and be on the show? Of course. And what happened, it gave the community a voice. And that's the power of the media. It gives people a chance to share their platform, their story. Yeah, that was a funny compliment, right? Oh, did you hear the barking? Oh, dear. Yes, there was a parcel delivered at the door, and my dog just decided he was going to let them know that he wasn't going to let them hurt us. So that's all right. Let's see. I have so many stories. Yes, well, at the time, I had already created a program for teens and youth, and I hadn't really had a chance to check it out because I always, whenever I develop something, I like to test it. So we hadn't done that, and I went to chief and council and I said, I have a youth program for kids, and I'd like to pilot it here. And of course, the question, how much is that going to cost? And I said, it's not going to cost anything. I'm going to fund it myself. If I can just have some kids, I was expecting like a handful of kids to come and try it out. We'd meet with them and check it out and see what worked. And because I figured if the program worked there in this stressful situation, it would work anywhere. So we put the word out to the community that we were going to run a program for youth. Okay, my little vision of 6 or 10 kids grew to 72 kids in one night. The first night, 72 kids were lined up outside the school to register for the workshops. I thought, now, how am I going to manage 72 kids? Not going to happen. So the next day, I went around the community and I invited some women in the community, some retired people, some people that weren't working outside the home. And I said, how would you like to help me out for 10 weeks? An hour a week for 10 weeks. I'll pay you to manage these kids, because I had to break them up into little groups so that the program would be effective. Anyway, I have pictures of those kids. I should have brought them up here. I didn't maybe realize I'd be talking like this today, but anyway, there was this little girl in the lineup and she was crying because I said you had to be 6 and up to participate. We had a young children's program and a teens program, but you had to be at least 6. This little tiny girl in the lineup, crying. I said, honey, what is wrong? I want to come, but I'm only 5. I was like, my heart, I said, Well, when are you going to be 6? Not till next year. I said, well, you know what? Rules are made to be broken. Come on in. And she was so happy. So that project, those kids became empowered. They were empowered because, the program is all about loving who we are, regardless of our circumstances. We have value. You can do what you want. You can be who you want. And let's see, 25 years later, 26 years later, in 2019, I went back to visit the community, and I didn't recognize the community because those kids are now in their 30s. So I got to see the labors of the work that we did there, how that impacted and turned around that one community. I drove by the entrance to the community 5 times because I didn't recognize the entrance. Because when I was traveling there, the road was gravel. There was an old barn on the front end. Now it's paved, sidewalks, curbs, businesses there at the front entrance. And congratulations to you all in Elsipogtog, New Brunswick. A proud people, a progressive people, a loving people. And I could go there right now and I'd have a place to stay. And so we did a lot of really great work there. And that was our very first introduction to the Indigenous community. And then from there, it just spread. And the more I worked, the more that's where I wanted to work. And that's where I've spent a great deal of my time. And I'm going up there next week to do a retreat for some staff. And that's my passion. That's where I shine. And because I see the good in everybody. Does that mean that everybody's good? No. But I know that everybody has a spark in there that got burnt out or got damaged. And when we lose our fire and our spark, life can get pretty difficult. All right. We're going to take a little 30-second break. And this is where in the show you could feature your products, your programs, your services, if you have an event coming up or something you want to advertise. And when I come back, oops, it's opposite. I'm going to talk about my little red dress. All right, we'll be right back after our break. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to National Indigenous Peoples Day here in Canada, June 21st, 2024. And we're talking about that today, along with some of my own personal stories and my experiences working in the communities. And I have worked in communities on and off reserve for the past 25 years, all the way down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, north in Canada, east and west. So I've been on a lot of reservations over the years. I've met some amazing, beautiful people. And congratulations on this special day to recognize your history, the difficulties, the rewards, the victories, the triumphs, and everything that we've done to move forward. So congratulations to the Indigenous community, which includes our First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in Canada. And there are 1.8 million Indigenous people living in Canada right now, and the fastest growing population in Canada right now. So we welcome and honor all those new lives that are coming to the planet that are going to help change things, turn things around, heal, and do all those wonderful things. Now, my little red dress. Oops, my little red dress. This was a gift from our our government office in Wetaskiwin, Rick Wilson, our MLA, we went for a meeting there a while back, and they gave me this little red dress. And I'd never had one before, and so I wear it all the time because people ask me, what is that? And if you can see up close, it's like a little dress, and it's got some fancy beads on it. And when you see somebody wearing a pin or a brooch or a necklace, and it looks like a little red dress, it's in honor of all the missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada. And now it's expanded to missing and murdered Indigenous people, men, women, and children. But predominantly, Indigenous women get targeted, and a lot of them are missing. And then when we find them, they're dead. And so this is a part of the history and a part of what's happening right now to raise the level of awareness around missing and murdered Indigenous women. I connect to this personally because my very first husband, whom I'd known since I was a child, has been on a missing persons list since 1986. So this is very near and dear to my heart because I know what it's like to worry and be thinking, are they cold? Are they hungry? Where are they? Is anybody punishing them? Is somebody trying to kill them? And it's one thing to lose a loved one and have a funeral and have closure. It's another thing to lose a loved one and you don't know where they are and there's never any closure. And that, especially if it's your children. And those of you out there who have children, just think about that. And there's all kinds of kids that go missing every day, every day, every day. So this is to honor, especially on National Indigenous Day, all of our Indigenous men, women, and children who have been gone, killed, etc. And I mean, there are horrific stories. If you want to Google that, missing and murdered Indigenous women, the stories would blow your mind. They're found in ditches and dumpsters and backyards, and it's just incredibly sad and horrific. So we need to put a stop to that. We need to put a stop to that for sure. So let's see, something else that I like to raise. My friend, I do this book sometimes on my shows, and it's called Out of the Depths by Isabel Knockwood. And she was one of the first people in Nova Scotia to write a book about the residential school system and what that did to them as children when they were institutionalized and deprived of their way of life, and an effort to assimilate them into the white society. And it was pretty scary stuff that went on. And if you don't believe it, just YouTube residential school system and educate yourself, because a lot of people don't want to even think that we did anything like that. And I always said, I'm not responsible for my ancestors and what they did when they got here from Europe, but I feel responsible to be part of the solution of what's gone down. So anyway, that is Mr. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Well, we're doing good. We're just wrapping up our show. This is former Chief Leonard Standing on the Road phoning in. How are you doing?
I was outside to do some grass work.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Well, I'm hoping everyone can hear you. Anyway, we're just talking and celebrating National Indigenous Peoples Day. Do you have anything special planned?
No. I'll probably go join the group at the administration office if they have something going.
Oh, yes.
Yesterday we had Treaty Day.
Oh, right.
Everybody gets to $5 for being an Indian.
Oh, I see. Well, you're on the air right now, and we're just, I've just put you on speaker so people can hear you. I hope they can hear you.
Yeah.
Right? So, Treaty Day. Wow. Yeah, that big...
Every nation, they celebrate that event.
Yes. Yes. To help honor who you are, right?
Yeah,
And bring pride to that. Right.
just a reminder of where we came from and how we came to be here on the
Yes.
reservation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm hoping that everybody's hearing you. Kathy, maybe you could comment to me if you're hearing Len. This is former Chief Leonard standing on the road and coming in on the phone today. We were just talking about taking call-ins. Here you are. How did you know we were?
Check the drive messages again.
Oh yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah. No worries. Oh, Virginia said yes. They can hear you. They can hear you. So that's great. That's great.
Text Virginia. I guess she's someone like
Yes.
Georgina.
Yes. Right on. So, do you know when this became a holiday?
God, I don't know exactly when.
Mhm.
Probably when the PCs, well, the present government came
Oh,
in.
yes. Yes. Well, I'm wearing my little red dress. You remember the day we went to Mr. Wilson's office and they gave me my little red dress? I've got it on my shoulder
Yeah.
today. And just educating people about what that means, right?
And especially when Jesus, how long ago was it when they found them graves?
It will be about 3 years ago now, I think, in Kamloops, right?
And right after that, well, probably before that,
Mhm.
they had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mandatory holiday.
Right. Right. All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye to you. We're just about ready to wrap up here. So thank you so much, Len, for your call. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay. Bye-bye. Now, look at that. Isn't that strange? We're talking about taking call-ins. We just did. I think that's our first call-in, Kathy, for the Today Show. I love it. That's great. Okay, so in wrapping up, just remember today as you're walking around and thinking about today, June 21st, honoring our Indigenous communities and paying homage to the history and the big part that they play in our Canadian history and in our progress. Because now that all the cards are on the table and the secrets are out, now we can do something. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis. You've been listening to the Today Show. We'll be away next week, but returning on July the 2nd, full bore with our show and a new show, 22 minutes. It's called the Today Show 22 Minutes, and that'll be a separate show. And also the Press Box, where I co-host with Doug Smith. So we're just moving and shaking here. And thank you to all of our partners, Your Home TV. I'm going to send out, I should do that right now. If you want to go into Your Home TV, here's the link to view our shows. They're archived in there. One show a week gets archived. So if you want to go into Your Home TV and check it out, so you'll know where we've landed. And that's a beautiful thing. All right. And thank you to you, Kathy Bell, who does so much work for us on the back end, and she never misses a show. She's always here. And Virginia also always here and big supporters of our show. So thank you. And the other request is we're streaming live right now on my Facebook page, Laurie Davis. We're streaming live on my YouTube channels, Laurie Davis. Just go in there, YouTube, Laurie Davis Show Host. And I believe on one of the disability, well, that's where Kathy comes in. I'm not sure which Facebook page for the disability channel we're on. But when you go in, would you please share the show to your Facebook page? Just imagine if everybody that we knew shared the show and put it on their own Facebook page. How cool would that be? I think everybody should do that because there might be something that we say that could really support somebody or change their life. So share, share, share. All right. Bye for now. You've been amazing. Thank you for being here.